Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering. Hello and welcome to another Classic Restos. I am in Holland in Michigan, and these United States episodes for us all to enjoy, and this particular return trip has been made possible by Shannons. But before we go any further, here's this. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. Jeez, you could film a horror movie in there. Never underestimate the American woods, because in this case, around about 80 feet that way, is a barn that would quench just about any automotive thirst. Meet Allen J Scholten, born 1940. Allen has been here all of his life. Well, not all. He still has some to go. This is the stuff that keeps our senior enthusiasts alive. A barn full of automotive memorabilia. And of course, classic cars. Allen's first car was a 1939 Dodge, black, four-door sedan that he paid $50 for. There is no picture to show you, unfortunately, but Allen's love for vehicles over time has moulded an affair for Oldsmobiles first, Studebakers second, and everything else across the board coming in at third. Allen has had around 150 cars so far since birth, with 17 now in this collection, as he wakes every morning as the proud temporary custodian. This shed here is a 50-foot by 80-foot pole barn. Allen would prefer a 60-foot by 90-foot, but it's better than a 40-foot by 70-foot. The first car is typical of what you would find only here in the United States of America.
Well, cars go back with me most of my life, and when I was very young I was impressed with them, I was fascinated with them, I was fascinated with the mechanics of them and the running, and pretty soon you got prejudice. You liked a Studebaker or you didn't like a Ford. All these kind of things were impressive to me, but of course at a young age you had to deal with Cushmans and Wizards because you really couldn't drive that young. But actually, at quite a young age, being on a farm, you started driving around in the country, and so it was enjoyable and fulfilling to do those things and be able to do them. And I got an attachment to various cars, always liked them, liked to work on them, got some satisfaction out of working on them, and hence I started my life eventually going to a dealership and staying there for 42 years. I think I've had a good life, and I'm fond of cars today, and as the doctors say, stay active, so keeping a bunch of cars running and showing them and taking them around, and that's really, it makes my senior life enjoyable also.
How you doing, Al?
Hi, Fletch. I'm doing great today.
That is great. I mean, where do we start here? In the woods, this is just a beautiful location. Makes you not want to leave.
It is, and I love it out here with nature and the deer and the turkeys and everything. It's an enjoyable place, and besides that, I've got my cars. Yeah. What more could you ask for?
I could think of worse places, Al.
Yeah, you sure could.
Now, to start this procession of cars off in Al's shed, to give us some idea of what he has, the 1958 Mary Kay, this stunning Oldsmobile. Tell us the significance of Mary Kay and what you can about this car.
Well, I think that started back when they were new, and the salesmen that were extra above and beyond ordinary got one to drive, as I understand it, for 1 year free of charge, and it showed that they were a successful salesman, and it was a very good promotion for Mary Kay and I think Oldsmobile.
Wow, you wouldn't have wanted to been selling cars back then and not have one because people would have looked down on you.
That's for sure, yeah. It was a status symbol, and I think it did its job very well.
So, Al, the significance. Why Mary Kay? Tell us what you can there.
Well, I think they, at that time, were a very significant cosmetic company. They wanted to be prominent. They get their name and picture out there of themselves, and you could rely on that Mary Kay paint.
Okay, Al, tell us about the box there, the sales box on the back seat. What's going on there?
Well, that was the salesman's kit. It was in the showroom, and it was lighted, and you could make a four-door sedan, or you could make a convertible, and you could change the colors and see what it would really look like without having a whole lot of brochures. And this did the job very well because you just slipped the drawer open and then you could show them the interiors, the different leathers, the cloths that were available. And it was a kind of complete, unique thing for selling Oldsmobiles.
Isn't that just incredible? You just hear this stuff all day long. Now, this particular car here, tell us about what drives it up front. Tell us about the drivetrain. What's going on there?
Well, that's just a 370 engine, and it's got a 1.4 barrel. It's not a J2 or anything, but it was a very competitive, peppy engine, good transmission, and actually, as I remember them, I liked them very much and thought someday I'm going to own one, and now the day's come and I got it.
Okay, another brand that's passionate to your heart is a Studebaker. So let's go back and check out that second car, huh?
Okay, very good.
Moving through, Al. 1950 Studebaker and a convertible. I mean, how rare is this?
This is very rare because it's also the Commander Convertible, not the Champion. So it was the deluxe of the Studebaker line for convertibles right there.
Tell the difference between the two.
Lots of chrome, more accessories, bigger engine, totally different engine, and so that made it worth more money.
Now, currently under a restoration. How long has the build been going to date?
Well, it's been a couple years already, and it should be done, but sometimes other little cars come in and you buy another one and you got to get that running a minute, and so it's taking a little longer than it should, and I'm hearing a lot of static about it. We want to see it driven, but I'll get there. It will run.
Al, you have to educate me. I know nothing about this model Studebaker. Engine there, what's its size?
The engine is the big engine, which was also in the trucks. It's a 252 versus a 187 or something, which is in the Champion, which was definitely a smaller, lighter engine, less power. Yeah. And so it's in every way, it's more deluxe and heavier than the Champion. So
that's a big step up in displacement for those six-cylinder engines, and I guess well, the larger one, just a bit more torque as well.
Yes, also, and it was in the trucks, and so it has definitely more torque, more speed.
When you look at the nostalgia and taking you back to when you were younger and you remember these shapes, is it kind of like, is it a bit sad for you in some respects when you see how cars have changed and where we're at now?
Yes, it is. And I wonder if sometimes the engineers aren't really challenged for style and individuality anymore. They've lost that.
Yeah, they've ran out of shapes, haven't they, Al?
They have, yeah, definitely.
All the best shapes were done back in this era.
That's for sure. Yeah. America is in a big love for the automobile, but I think these would make you love the cars a little more than some of the newer ones. Kind of leave you go, well, okay, it gets me from point A to point B, but not in style.
All righty. Now, speaking of style and other things happening here, stick around because after the break, we're going to be back with this guy, Al. We're going to walk through that door and go at the back. We're going to check out a 1902 Curved Dash Oldsmobile and a heap of other stuff as well.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons.
We've also got Shannons Home and Contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannons.
Shannons, Insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range. Welcome back. We're here at Al's place. It's absolutely amazing. And of course, the return trip. A special thanks to Shannons. Now, out the back here, before we move on to the next vehicle, Al, when did you start collecting your memorabilia?
I think I started in my 30s already. By the time the kids were getting a little older and I just could generate a little bit of this stuff. And I actually love it. It might not mean a lot to other people, but I think it's cool.
Oh, there you go. He's just summed it up. It is cool. I mean, in that few decades or more, I think you've done exceptionally well. I guess you've been going to, well, in the past, you go to the garage sales. I guess you've always just had that sonar on looking for the old stuff, right?
Yeah, and a lot of stuff at car shows and Hershey and all these kind of places where you go. Yeah. So, yeah, you missed a lot, Fletch, when you didn't do these things.
Yeah. Now, behind us is an extraordinary vehicle. We've got a 1902 Curved Dash Oldsmobile. Now, my first question, where did you find this?
Well, it was in a garage in Zeeland, Michigan, and it wasn't running, and had the opportunity to get it, and the gentleman fell in some ill health, and I was able to pick it up, and then began the challenge of getting it going, and I love that.
We're back in an era, obviously, where it's one step up from horse-drawn buggies.
Correct.
With a little engine in front. Give us a rundown on how this Curved Dash operated.
Well, it was a standalone engine at one time where they ran pumps and wash machines and other things, and this engine got set in a car and with various transmission situations and a chain, not a drive shaft. It was made to propel the car. Ransom Oldsmobile didn't think it was a good idea to be cleaning up after horses, and he thought there had to be a better way, and this is what he did.
It was good until it either broke down or ran out of gas.
That's true, but considering the alternatives, horses always needed to be harnessed and hooked up and fed, and 7 days a week you could shut these off and they were done.
Okay, we move on from the 1902 Curved Dash Oldsmobile. What else have you got for us, Al?
Well, Fletch, we're going to take you to the 1942 Chrysler Town & Country Barrelback wagon.
God, I'm glad he said that. Let's go check that out. Alan, this is absolutely stunning, this Woody. I would imagine that nobody with a pet termite is ever allowed near it.
Not a bit. No, they'd be in trouble.
My word. Now, 1942, Detroit made 849 of these, right? 9 passenger vehicles.
Correct, yes.
Yep. And also the last year of production, too.
Yes, it is.
Because of the war.
Because of the war, production was terminated and they built war items.
Yeah. Okay, now a full resto on this type of vehicle. The woodwork is just stunning. A ground-up restoration, what was your build time?
Oh, 7 years.
Wow. I think you did well for 7 years.
Well, it's not something you can just jump into, and you have to do it as you do. And if you can't do it good, don't do it at all.
Now, I look at the car, I see there's a lot of opulence here. It's a busy car. Like, there's lots of things. You could almost pull up a chair and sit next to it and stare at it for 10 minutes and be entertained.
Right, that's true. Well, they wanted this one to be decked out elegant and a car that might take people from the airport to a hotel. An elegant car. I don't know of any other car in 42 that was that elegant per se, with all the chrome and the flashiness of it. So I think you'd look at it, if you can go back to those days, and be impressed with that car.
Now, the go-go department up front, we know it's a 6-cylinder engine. What's its displacement? Do you know its horsepower?
I believe it's 165 horsepower, and displacement is around 202.
The aesthetics of the vehicle, as alluded to earlier, stunning, which also takes me to the top of the turret there with that luggage rack.
Yes.
What an amazing bit of craftsmanship that is, with its chrome and its timber.
Well, actually, those were cadmium when they came out, and I thought it would add to the flashiness of it to have them all chromed. So, yeah.
What does it drive like as a car? Are they, without sounding a silly question, they're comfortable to ride in?
It's comfortable, but it's 40s technology, and you got to remember there were no expressways, and the roads were a little bit more crowned, so it was a little more all over the road kind of a car. It drove well, but for that time and period, it was a fantastic car.
The interior is stunning. Is there anything particular that you'd like to tell us?
Well, we went to special pains to keep the plastic weave and had all new leather sewed around it. There's 2 complete hides of leather in that.
The seats.
Right now. Yeah. That's original, the plastic weave.
Amazing. And the amazing carries on through to back with those 2 doors. Now, when I opened those doors up, the first thing that struck me was the alignment and how they just clear the rear bar. Well, was that a difficult thing?
Not really, no, but those doors are a pain to get adjusted properly and everything, and so, yeah. And also, you got to remember, wooden cars, the more humidity, they change a little bit from here to there, so you want to keep them adjusted.
Like an old creaking boat.
If they creak down the road, go through a rainstorm, they're silent.
Not only have you built the car, you're also an incredible source of information.
Thank you.
Okay, now, as we say, I've said in the past, we could talk to this guy for days, but stick around because after the break, we're going to be back with a very, very cool Oldsmobile 98. There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
Coming on the Fletch tour was really great.
The people that run the tour are fantastic.
Experience Route 66 from Chicago to Vegas, or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
If you're going to travel anywhere, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
On a Fletch tour, you're looked after every step of the way.
See FletchTours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Hare & Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare & Forbes has the range.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
Welcome back. Here with Big Al. Are you having fun, Al?
I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. Yes, I am.
You're rolling along okay. I think you've done this before.
Not really. No, I'm kind of an amateur at this kind of thing.
Yeah, the way it usually goes, I'm the one that makes all the mistakes, and the person I interview, they just go through and don't make one blunder.
Okay, well, if it's one thing, I've never worked with a guy named Fletch before.
Okay, you should see the takes before we do the edits. Now, we are now moving on to a pretty famous Oldsmobile in the respect that the 88 is just so synonymous with the brand. Here we have a 1959 convertible. I think what is nice, though, is that Al used to work on these types of cars back in 1959, right?
When they were new, yeah. I'm not that old, but I did work on them.
You're a young guy in 59. Now, Al, what were they like? I mean, were they good cars back in 59?
They were phenomenal. They were very good cars, and when you think of something like that weighing about 3 ton, they got excellent mileage.
Right.
And they were a nice handling car. And I don't know that people today saw it. Well, you don't need anything that big, but it didn't feel big to me back then. It didn't.
Back then, Al, you guys knew no better. I mean, probably 90% of cars on the road back at that stage were a large type of car. I think there's no turning back after you've driven one of these when it comes to the ride.
Absolutely. At 70, they are so sweet on the highway. Even today, the newer cars, you feel the bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah. That thing, 70, it's totally silent. Yeah. Just glides over everything, and it's sweet.
Tell us about this car. Why do you have it?
When I was young and couldn't afford it, I said, one of these days I want one, and today's the day, and I got one, and I love it and I enjoy it.
Okay, so run us through driveline on this particular car, Al. What powers it up front?
That's a 374 engine. It's just a 4-barrel, nothing really special, no 2.4s or anything. But a 98 was not meant to be a speedster. It was a big car, a luxury car.
Okay, now, Al, this is a very opulent car, lovely dashboard, straightforward but opulent. It's the rectangle era, isn't it? A bit of squareness going on in the dash, some bright work there. Again, it's one of those cars that makes you want to get in and just drive all day. A neat little fin out the back there, the top of the rear quarter. Just that the oval section on the top of the rear makes it very, very nice. And I've got to say, I do admire the stainless steel trim that starts from the front of the fender, runs through the entire length of the car, sitting on top of the panels. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, and the era of the fins, Cadillac was the king of that, but I love this design and the fins. That was a time, and in 60, that was all gone with all of them about. So.
Well, GM loved their fins. I mean, Cadillac had the highest fins, and it was claimed that Buick had the longest.
Yep. You're right, that's true.
We have one more car on today's show, or it's a truck. Now, it's something old. It's over there. Let's go and have a chat about that. What's your thoughts there, Al?
That sounds good to me.
Well, after the Oldsmobile 98 and onto the Reo truck. Now, what's going on here, Al?
Well, Fletch, this happens to be something that was made and developed by Ransom Eli Oldsmobile, who originally started the Oldsmobile.
Well, I can't help but think of the 1980 music band Reo Speed Wagon.
That's what it's named after, and that's an all-original truck, cracks in the paint and little frailties here and there, but it starts and runs and drives, and it's kind of a neat old truck.
I've always said this, you guys here in the United States, you access stuff.
Yeah, and they were. Some of these guys were ingenious. If we have the opportunity, I'd like to show you the starter in that thing. It's a motor bolted to the frame with a bicycle chain going to the shaft to start the engine. I mean, kind of ingenious, but it's better than cranking it.
Yeah, it still sounds kind of complicated just before breakfast, Al.
Well, it's an interesting truck, and it starts and runs and goes, and it's got a heel box that for the farmers was a cattle and grain box. It folded out to go up 5 feet for cows, and it folded back in to be tight enough to haul grain. Way back in 1917.
Wow, well, that's just blown about half an hour of our conversation. So, Al, in terms of history, where was she from?
She was from Nebraska, actually, is where I bought it out of a museum over there, and it had spent its life out there. And back then, Reo was a very popular truck. I think they sold more than Ford as far as trucks went, and they were tough and good and spent its life out there on a farm, and then went to a museum.
Now, Al, it's come to the close of the show now. Look, we know that you're retired, but that's besides the point. You've taken a day out today, given us your time. You've taken us out for lunch. You've really looked after us. It's been fantastic catching up with you today. Really appreciate it.
Well, Fletch, it was good that you came out. I'm glad. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I'm glad if I can bring somebody a little joy with some of the things I enjoy, that's just great.
Well, it's a bloody long way from Australia.
Yeah, but I think, wasn't it worth it?
Yep, absolutely. Good. Thanks again, Al.
Thanks, Fletch.
Good on you. Well, how good was Al as we make our way through these exclusive episodes being filmed here in the United States? This particular return thanks to Shannons. As I say at the end of every show, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering.